Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back and thank you for supporting me. I'm Coretta. So in this video, I will show you how I created a 3D puff embroidery patch and placed it on a hat. Come on y'all, let's get started. For this project, I will be using Cutaway Stabilizer, Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. I will be using Hot Fix Transfer Tape, Embroidery 3D Puffy Foam, a hat, thread colors of my choice, and scissors. I will leave a list of the items in the description of this video. Here in Embrilliance, I am using Stitch Artist Level 3. You can use any level of Embrilliance, including the free version, to use the BX fonts. However, some of the functions that I am going to use in this video may require Embrilliance Essentials and higher levels of the software. So the first thing I'm going to do is add my text. To add my text, I am going to go to the top toolbar and I am going to select Create Letters, which is the letter A icon. When the font ABC shows, I am going to go to the Properties panel on the right, on the bottom right panel. It's the Property panel. And where it says Text, I am going to type my text. And then I'm going to hit Enter. Just below that, I am going to select the drop-down menu to select my font. These are BX fonts that are installed on my computer. For this project, I am going to select this 3D Athletic Color 2-inch font. I am going to be placing this design on a hat, and so I want to size the word so that it fits the hat. To change the size, I am going to go to the Objects panel on the right, and I'm going to make sure that the word is selected. Then I'm going to go to the top toolbar and I am going to select the object icon, and it is the arrow cursor. To the left on the tool pane, I am going to unlock the scale proportionately, and I am going to change my width to 6 and hit Enter. Remember, you cannot change the size of BX fonts too much because it will change the stitches. With the word still selected, I am going to make sure that the design is centered in my hoop. So on the top menu, I'm going to select Utilities and Center in Hoop. The next thing I want to do is to take a look at the stitch simulator to make sure that everything is going to stitch out in the order that I want. To open the stitch simulator, I am going to select the stitch simulator icon, and it is the icon that looks like a needle with thread. On the tool pane, starting on the left, you have your player control, you have your speed, you have the step stitch controls, and you have a stop. To see the stitch out, I am going to drag the manual control, and it is this little slider bar here. And so here you can see that each letter is going to completely stitch out, and then it's going to move to the next letter. To make this more efficient, I am going to color sort so that I will only have to do one color change. To color sort, I am going to select Utility on the top menu, and then I'm going to select Color Sort. When the Color Sort window opens, it will indicate that the design has been reduced by 6 colors. After that, I am going to select New View. A new design page will open with the changes. With the changes, I'm going to take a look at the Stitch Simulator again. So dragging the manual across, I see now that all of the black is going to stitch out at once, and then all of the blue is going to stitch out. Next, I'm going to create an SVG of the design so that I can cut the heat and bond for each letter with my Cricut. To create the SVG, I am going to select the Create Design icon, and it is the 4th icon from the right that looks like a fan. Then on the Objects panel on the right, I am going to select the entire design. And then I'm going to go up to the top tool pane, and under Path, which is here, I am going to select Create Outline, and this is the 4th icon on the top row of the path. Here is the outline right here. And with the outline still selected, I am going to go to the top menu, and I'm going to select File, and I'm going to select Export Outline. I am going to name my file. And then I'm going to make sure that the Save As type says Scalable Vector Graphics, which is SVG. I'm going to select Save. I'm going to keep my DPI at 72. And then I'm selecting OK. Once I save the outline as an SVG, I'm just going to delete it by using the delete key on my keyboard. With the design and the stitching complete, I am going to save the file. To save the file, I am going to go to the top menu, and I'm going to select File. I'm going to select Save As Stitch and Working. I'm going to name my file again. On the Save As type, you want to make sure that your file type is the file type for your embroidery machine. For my embroidery machine, the file type is PES, and so I'm going to select Save. To cut the heat and bond, I am going to upload the SVG into Cricut Design Space. Here is the design on the canvas, and I am going to go over to the layers panel, and I'm going to expand it. And as you can see, there are 4 different layers here, and I don't want each layer to cut separately. So I'm going to make sure that the design is selected, and I am going to select Attached on the bottom right. Sometimes the design may not come into Cricut Design Space at the correct size, so you may need to resize it. According to Embroidery, my design was 6 inches in width and 2 inches in height. So I am going to select the entire design, and I'm going to go to the top toolbar, and I can see that the width and the height is incorrect, I am going to unlock the lock proportion. I am going to change my width to 6 and hit enter. And I'm going to change my height to 2 and hit enter. Now that the design is sized correctly, I am ready to cut. So I'm going to select Make in the upper right corner. On this screen is the design on the color coordinated mat. Because I am going to be cutting this on the heat and bond, I need to mirror the image. And so to mirror, I am going to go over onto the left and I am going to toggle on mirror. After I mirror, I am going to go to the bottom right and select continue. Here on the material screen, I am going to select the material that I want to use to cut out the heat and bond. For this project, I am going to select medium cardstock to cut the heat and bond. I am going to place the heat and bond onto the mat with the paper side down on the mat. I am going to get the heat and bond cut out and I'll come back to iron it onto the patch. Now I'm going to hoop my cutaway stabilizer. I have 2 pieces of cutaway stabilizer and I'm going to be using my 5x7 hoop. Here at the embroidery machine, I have the design loaded and I already have the hoop on the machine. I am going to lower the presser foot and I am going to press the green button to start the machine. The first stitch is going to be the outline for each letter. Next, I am going to place my foam down over my design, and I'm going to make sure that the foam is covering the entire design. So I want to check that to make sure it's covering the whole design. And once I have it placed, I'm going to lower my presser foot and then press the green button to start. So I've finished embroidering, and the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to remove the foam from the design. And when I remove the foam, I'm just going to be kind of gentle to peel it away so that I don't rip anything. So I'm just going to be very, very gentle. The stitches seem to have made perforations in the foam, so it's kind of easy to tear, but again, I am going to take my time to make sure that I don't rip anything. Now I am going to remove it from the hoop so that I can cut away the stabilizer. So when I am cutting away my stabilizer, I just want to make sure that I cut as close to the stitches as I can without actually cutting my stitches. After I get everything cut out, then I am going to use my lighter to kind of seal the ends. So I'm just going to run the lighter quickly past the edges. Next, I am going to add the heat and bond to the back of my letters. And I am just going to place the heat and bond on the back of the letter, lining it up. And then I am going to use my mini press. My mini press is on 2. And I'm just going to use the mini press to press down here. Whatever device you're using, make sure that you utilize the instructions that come with the heat and bond. So I'm just going to press it on here just for a few seconds, and I'm not going to apply a lot of pressure. So I'm going to repeat that for all of the letters. Okay, so once it cools, then I'm just going to peel off the paper from the backing like that. And then you'll see like the shiny side left on the patch. You'll see the shiny side, and that's the heat and bond that's on there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to line each letter up on my cutting mat. And the goal is to try to line them up evenly. So I know that my hat is 6 inches. And so I'm going to line up the letters. And I'm just going to try to align the top of the letters so that they are even across the top. And I am just going to use the line here so that I could get them lined up evenly and spread it apart. So once I get them lined up, I am going to use the Hot Fix transfer tape to place onto the letters, and hopefully it holds the letters in place. So I'm just going to put it down, and then I'm just going to make sure that it adheres. Okay, so the Hot Fix transfer tape didn't work. So I'm going to try the heat tape that I use for sublimation. So I'm just going to put the heat tape right here. I need a longer piece. And then here. And then I'm going to get another piece, and I'm just going to put it on the bottom, just so I could keep everything aligned. So it looks like everything is still aligned. Yeah, everything is still aligned, and I can pick everything up at one time, like that. So I've placed the hat onto my hat foam, and I'm just going to pick it up, and I'm going to place it on the hat, and I'm going to make sure that it is centered where I want it. And I'm going to also use some more heat tape to make sure that it doesn't move. So I'm just going to put some more heat tape on it. And then I am going to press it. And I have my hat press set on the 3rd the third mark, and I am just going to lay the hat press down, and I'm not going to apply a lot of pressure. I just want the heat so that the heat can make the heat and bond adhere to the hat. So again, I'm not using a lot of pressure. Move it over here. Okay, so the hat press was a fail, and I think it's because this is foam as well, so I think it's kind of thick. So I am actually going to try to press it on from the back, and I'm going to use my mini heat press to do that. And so I'm just going to get me some Teflon, and then I'm going to press it from the back. All right, y'all. So this is the hat. Some of the letters stuck, but I think I need a stronger heat and bond than the ultra heat and bond, the ultra hold. It may not be strong enough for this foam piece here. And so this is the hat. I am going to try some fabric glue to see if I can get it glued down. All right, guys, that's all for now. I hope that you're able to follow along with my process. If you like this video and would like to see more, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will respond back. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video.